last night, Peacemaker, the second to last episode, came out. And I'll tell you what, guys, I thought it was awesome. I thought it was just awesome. Now, probably like a lot of other people, I was at first pretty pissed when I loaded up the episode and I saw a 33-minute runtime. I'm not going to lie. I instantly felt pissed. You guys know how I feel about this. If you're a big streamer and you're doing a premium show that we're supposed to count down every week till the next episode, give us a little bit more than 33 fucking minutes. How about that? So I have to admit, as much as I love Peacemaker, I was really kind of disturbed when I saw a 33-minute runtime. On top of the fact that like last week's episode was 37. Granted, I loved last week's episode, but still. Rob, that disappointment didn't last long.
Nope.
As they got into the episode, and I will go out on a limb and say this, I won't bear the lead. I think it might have been the best episode of Peacemaker so far, season 1 or season 2. But I also think last night's episode of Peacemaker put an exclamation point on it. The debate's over. It's done. The DCU is heading in the right direction. And the discussion is over. The DCU is in the right hands, in James Gunn's hands. And I'll kind of go into details as to why I kind of feel that way. Now, guys, just so you know, we are going to go into some details about last night's episode. So be forewarned. We are going to talk about this kind of in an open spoilery sort of way, whatever you can spoil in 33 minutes, but still we're going to talk about an open spoilery way. You've been warned, but if you're really into Peacemaker, you probably saw the episode already anyway. The first thing I got to point out, Rob, is John Cena. We've been kind of making mention about this, that John Cena has grown so much as an actor. He really has. And you've really seen it in this season so far, but never more so than last night when he just watched a good version of his dad die and now about to watch his brother die again. And he gave 15 seconds of the best acting of his career. I've seen a lot of actors have to do every once in a while an actor's got to do a no kind of scene, right? Like every actor's got that. And I've seen it done. But I'll tell you what, when John Cena ripped his out, you felt the pain. You felt the conflict. You felt the agony and the anguish. And it wasn't just that guttural scream when he scrambles over to his brother's beaten body and he lets out that line. First of all, great writing. When he rips out the line, "What the fuck is wrong with us? What is wrong with us?" Like, as he's giving that quick little short speech, I was like, listen, I'm not trying to hyperbolize this or anything, Rob, but I don't know how that scene could have been done better. I don't know how any actor, I'm not saying John Cena is the best actor in the world. I'm just saying the way he did that 1 minute, I don't know how any actor could have gone in there and played that scene any better. And by the way, it was a combination of a great performance, great writing, because the way that, because sometimes, Rob, I find it kind of cheesy sometimes when TV shows like do quick little flashbacks to things we know very well. But as he's sitting there and going through that and then showing the quick flashbacks of, Flag, him killing Flag, and him killing his doppelganger, and him killing whatever, and like realizing everything I touch dies, and like all that kind of stuff. This was like that perfect storm of great visuals, great writing, great performance. And I just thought they absolutely nailed that. I thought it was emotionally moving. And here's why, Rob, I said that, I think this puts a nail in the discussion about, is the DCU heading in the right direction? Is the DCU in the right hands? James Gunn in this episode has shown once again, he has mastered the art of finding that great balance between true human experience and wild, weird entertainment. And in everything he does, he strikes that balance, but some projects he moves it a little bit more one way, so it leans a little bit more to one. In some projects, it leans the other way and leans more to one. And sometimes it'll find the directly right down the line balance. But he has mastered being able to find where that balance is for each individual project he does. And again, last night's episode, and by the way, I've never really liked the Judo Master character until last night.
Yeah. Last
night, especially the one line, that's the most people I've ever killed in a swimming pool with electrical lines. Well, how many? 4. I mean, I love that. And when she's like, why do you save me? He goes, didn't seem like a fair fight. Like all of a sudden, I love this character. All of a sudden, I completely love the character. And then they built on that stuff they did last week with Vigilante meeting himself. And they just went right to town on that in this episode, which worked utterly fantastic. But we got to talk about the big thing, of course. And the big thing was the revelation that Peacemaker's dad in that universe is not just another Nazi whatever. Like in Earth X, his dad is actually, like when he gives that speech, listen, girly, like maybe you are able to fight every single injustice you see, but I'm trying to remember the line perfectly, and I'm sure I messed it up a little bit, but he says, I've got to fight the villains and monsters in front of me. That's all I can do. I can only fight the ones, and I do the best I can. And he's giving this amazing speech that frankly only Robert Patrick can do. Like sometimes we forget just how good of an actor he is, and he's giving that speech, and then the direction of the writing is perfect. In the midst of that speech, as you're feeling this heartwarming moment and the camera's cutting to Chris, to Peacemaker, and you see this warmth coming over him. And at that exact moment, Vigilante comes through the window, and you're like, oh my God. And like, you're just freaking out. And it was just so perfect, so well done. Oh, and by the way, I got to throw this up too. If I read this on a page, Rob, I would have thought that's not going to work. That seems cheesy. But they found a way to make it work. As Peacemaker and Hardcourt are riding down on the peace cycle and they're being chased, and she then just puts her head down on his back. There was something so moving about that and something so emotional about that. And it was just beautifully done. And then, at the end, when he pulls they all came in there to convince me to give myself up and give this to you. So here you go. And by the way, Rob, the way they ended it with the brother. First of all, that was a badass moment when Hardcourt's like, give me your gun. Sorry, I can't have you coming after him. She was about to straight up murder him. Like he's incapacitated. He's no threat, anything like that. But now her loyalty to Chris is so hard, and she's like, sorry, I can't have you coming after him anymore. Even though we're about to close the rift between our universes and everything, I can't risk it. I'm about to kill you. And yet they leave him alive. And so my guess is, Rob, we're not going to see him in the next episode. I don't think we're going to see him in the finale. I think they're done with Earth Mega at this point. But they leave an open door. They leave a little string that if they choose to follow this later, they can. And we've got a compelling, emotionally relevant foil to Peacemaker now in another dimension's version of his own brother. Rob, I loved everything about this episode. I just can't get over how great I think it was, and it wasn't even the finale. Anyway, guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, Zapier. You know, one of the biggest game changers of the past year has been AI. But let's be real, just talking about AI doesn't actually make your day any more productive. What does make it more productive is finding tools to put AI to work for you. And that's where Zapier comes in. Zapier is the easiest way to take AI and plug it directly into the apps and processes that you're already using every day. No IT bottlenecks, no complexity, just results. For me, it's been about saving time on repetitive stuff so I can focus on the work that matters and I actually enjoy. And it's not just me. Over 3.4 million companies are already using Zapier to streamline everything from sales and marketing to IT and HR. With their AI orchestration platform, you can connect top AI models like ChatGPT or Claude right into the apps you already use. So whether it's automatically enriching leads, coaching your sales team, or even resolving IT tickets, Zapier makes it simple. Guys, join the 3.4 million companies already automating with Zapier and transform how you work with Zapier and AI. Get started for free by visiting zapier.com/Campea. That's ZAPIER.com/Campea. You saw the episode last night. I remember it was about 11 o'clock or 11:30 last night, and I just get this text from you, dude, Peacemaker. So like you saw it last night. What were your thoughts about it?
Like you, I mean, first of all, I too was disappointed in the running time until I started to watch it, and then I realized we were going full throttle the whole time, and it was like one long tension filled. I mean, like you pointed out, the way James Gunn writes, he didn't direct this episode, but the way he writes, he straddles that line between pathos, seriousness, and total bonkers absurdity. And that's kind of what Peacemaker, where he's lived. I mean, it harks back to what he did in things like Slither and Super, and even the book he wrote, The Toy Collector. And when we got into the house, and you saw what was happening when Robert Patrick is trying to convince, Chris's brother that no, you don't understand. I've been to that other universe. I've seen myself. I was like, wow, and then when he starts, like you said, giving that speech, you realize when he isn't a Nazi. Like he's not a product of that alternate universe. He's his own man. And you realize that the family unit that they had, Chris was the problem. He was talking about Chris's issues, and it was a great way to turn things around, because they already portrayed everybody in that universe as being, these crazed evil fascists. And it was really interesting to play against that with the family dynamic. And then, like you said, I was getting moved. I was in the middle of like getting emotional about it. And then when Vigilante burst in, I was like, no, I literally like yelped. And when I was watching it, and it was so vicious, and so I'm like, oh my God. And, for a half an hour bit of TV. And you know what's really interesting about this show is it's fairly contained. This is not a big budget show. They're like shooting in neighborhoods in Atlanta. I love the fact that we were up in Washington State, but it's not, they really make this show terrific, and it's not budgetarily, they're not breaking the bank with this show. And it's just a terrific piece of work. And like you said, this episode was, I mean, I don't want to make it sound like it's Godfather 2 or something, but for the show itself, it really, I think, elevated the material farther than it's ever been elevated before. It really took the show to another level, I think, emotionally.
Yeah, it really did. And again, this leads us into next week. By the way, I love the fact that they brought back the tech guy from Superman, because I actually really like that character.
That he was great.
Yeah, because he kind of gets a bum deal, because like he was trying to talk Lex out of doing the worst stuff. And it's like, and now here he is. And it's like, I'm glad he's back. I think he can be a real asset to the DCU as a whole moving forward. But this, again, it leads into a lot of questions about who is the big cameo next week. I don't think it's going to be Overman. I think they have closed off Earth X now for at least the rest of this season with only one episode left. So I don't know who the big cameo is going to be next week, but I'm super excited about it. I cannot wait to see where they go with this. And anyway, guys, question is for you. What did you think about the new episode of Peacemaker? I was initially very disappointed to hear the runtime. Oh, and by the way, Rob, by the way, next week's runtime, 57 minutes.
Ooh.
Yeah, they announced that it's going to be 57 minutes for next week. So at least it's going to be a good, long, proper finale. Whatever you guys thought about the new episode, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.